Yo, all fans of Japanese animation. The anime we have today is called My Dress Up Darling. Honestly, I personally prefer rubber dolls, but hey, everyone's got their own tastes.
The anime starts with our main guy's crazy grandpa scaring his grandson with his collection of porcelain dolls, and then the kid gets rejected by a girl. On that basis, the boy's psyche shatters, and he begins making traditional Japanese dolls. Wakana Gojo, that's our hero's name, is a withdrawn person in life. No friends, no purpose. I hate everything about myself, and I drown in my hatred. Unexpectedly, Gojo is knocked over by a clumsy girl named Marin Kitagawa. Kitagawa is the school beauty. Lots of handsome guys are into her, but she constantly rejects them, calling them clowns. After class, Gojo stays behind for school duty, and by coincidence, he's paired with Kitagawa. They talk, and Kitagawa motivates him not to be such a pushover, not to bottle everything up inside.
Gojo's sewing machine breaks, so he decides to use the school's workshop. A real man works for it. Of course, Kitagawa accidentally walks in, but instead of laughing at him, she expresses her admiration for his skills. The work of his hands, so to speak. Suddenly, Kitagawa undresses to show her costume. Gojo trashes her effort, making her cry. But in the end, he apologizes, kneels down, and agrees to help her sew a proper cosplay costume for the upcoming festival. After all, Marin is a hardcore otaku.
Lessons from this episode. Girls like guys who are different. Don't belittle someone else's efforts. And if you know how to use a sewing machine, girls will undress in front of you. Damn, I should have studied tailoring, huh? Turns out Kitagawa wants to cosplay a character from an Ero anime. Being the school's top beauty, she's also a perv who suddenly gives all her attention to Gojo. Boys, do you think that would ever happen in real life? Kitagawa visits him so he can take her measurements. She strips down to a swimsuit and starts posing in front of Gojo. He's embarrassed, and I totally get him. I'd be upset too because, I prefer when hairy men smear themselves with... Anyway.
That evening, Gojo sits down to play those games. Grandpa catches him, kicks him out of the house, throws away his computer, and commits suicide. Gojo dreams of Kitagawa calling him her master. Classic virgin dreams. Curious about what gigachads dream of? Well, here's mine. Once, I dreamed I was swimming in a pool. Then I woke up and realized I had pissed myself in my sleep. At school, Kitagawa introduces Gojo to her girlfriends, but he tries to avoid her. I mean, come on, after you've measured a girl's boobs, it's pretty hard to look her in the eyes. Eventually, she manages to track him down and says,
In the end, Kitagawa convinces Gojo that they're friends, and they go shopping together. Honestly, Kitagawa is a pretty childish girl. She seems empty, naive, silly, and happy-go-lucky. Okay, fine, I love her. After buying clothes and stuffing themselves with food, they walk through the city at night. Gojo shares his idea of beauty and what it means to him. Before parting, Kitagawa reminds him there are only 2 weeks left until the cosplay festival. Time's running out. Gojo goes to buy women's stockings, obviously to wear them around the house while Grandpa's at work. But Grandpa catches him, has a stroke, and ends up in the hospital. Heh, easy inheritance. Nice one, man. Gojo's cousin takes the old man to live with her. Grandpa seems disappointed in his grandson, and he doesn't even realize yet what a cringe lord the kid has become. At school, Gojo feels down about living alone, but Kitagawa comforts him, saying she can cook if needed, and hey, they could swap numbers. Later, maybe she'll... well, you get it. But Gojo is overloaded. Exams, visiting Grandpa, and sewing the costume. Welcome to adult life, buddy. Falling asleep, Gojo remembers an old conversation with his grandpa, which gives him strength. Love for your craft isn't a cure for exhaustion, but it helps you endure hardships. Seeing the smiles of those you work for makes you realize it wasn't in vain. Finally, exhausted and sleep-deprived, with dark circles under his eyes, Gojo tells Kitagawa her costume is ready.
She replies he didn't actually need to rush. She didn't need it that soon. Realizing she screwed up, she starts crying to shift the guilt onto him. And of course, Gojo, being the classic pushover, falls for her manipulation and apologizes. She puts on the costume, which looks pretty good on her, and excitedly asks him to take pictures for her social media. The results, honestly, are pretty weird. Out of 1,000 shots, only one turned out okay, and she uploads that one.
So remember, guys, if a girl ever asks you to take her picture, run. The two go to the cosplay festival, where they see a crowd of freaks. Japanese cosplay festivals look quite decent, not as cringe as in my city anyway. A fat pig approaches Kitagawa for a photo, and she doesn't mind. Well, guess she revealed her preferences there. Kitagawa is super popular at the festival, and Gojo starts wondering if this is the last time they'll see each other. After all, his job is done. But suddenly, Kitagawa runs up to him in a panic. Her costume is tearing apart from the heat, so they go off to change. The sweaty girl with drops of sweat running down her body has no idea how hard it is for Gojo to keep it together in that moment. Finally, the two go home, Gojo thinking this nightmare is finally over, when suddenly he compliments her, blushes, and remembers how much such words mean to him. Well, is love in the air? Let's not pretend this wasn't obvious from the very beginning. Grandpa returns home and sees his grandson holding a dress. Nearly has another heart attack, but after explaining, he finally realizes his grandson isn't that way. Gojo is added to the list of straight guys, but only in pencil.
Meanwhile, Kitagawa falls for Gojo, not because he helped her with cosplay or anything else, but simply because he's kind. Trashy, but cute. Then Grandpa brings a random girl into the house, hopefully not to keep her in the basement. Anyway, her name is Sejuna. And of course, at her first meeting with Gojo, she ends up without clothes. Gojo shows around the house and his headless dolls. Sounds like the start of a horror movie, right? Turns out Sejuna is a famous cosplayer that Kitagawa admires. Soon enough, Sejuna refuses to do joint cosplay until money is mentioned. Money solves everything. She agrees to collaborate, but Gojo now has to watch 126 episodes of the anime the girls want to cosplay. Next day, Gojo visits Kitagawa and finds her without makeup. He enters a room and it looks like it belongs not to a school beauty, but to a fat, pimply shut-in. Basically me.
They watch anime together and Kitagawa realizes this is basically a home date. She's nervous but also thrilled. Meanwhile, let me ask you something. When you were a kid, do you ever mess with the balcony door handle, pulling it up and down, enjoying that feeling, and then sit down on it with your ass? Anyway, nervous, Kitagawa goes to cook, showing us a new side of her. They finish the anime, Goju sketches designs, Sejuna pays him, and they agree to meet at a restaurant where Sejuna's younger sister, Shinju, will photograph them. By the way, amazing creativity from the parents with those names. But Shinju's body proportions cause cognitive dissonance. How come Sejuna got nothing up top, yet her little sister's stacked? Genetics, explain this. Anyway, they hang out, talk photography, and head to an abandoned hospital for a photo shoot. Basically 10 minutes of boring character chatter about nothing. Saving your time here. Then exams, then the beach episode. But surprisingly, instead of mindless fan service, it's wholesome. Walking, eating burgers, and talking about their past. Goju never traveled anywhere, spent all his time drawing like his grandpa, but he appreciates the present, his work, the sea, Kitagawa's beauty. Happiness is within. Nice, right?
Kitagawa suggests they go somewhere together for vacation, and he jumps into the sea. Not to off himself, but just for fun. Creative personality, you know? He pisses his pants in the water, out of joy, of course. At home, Kitagawa shows him her swimsuit. Why him and not me? Later, Gojo does makeup for the cosplayers. Shinju wants to cosplay a guy, and he helps again. He praises Kitagawa, which makes it clear he's falling for her, even if he doesn't realize it yet. The costumes are finished, photo shoots done, Gojo edits videos non-stop. Thrilling episode, like working as a miner and then playing Minecraft at home. Kitagawa chooses her next cosplay, a dark-skinned elf with a bra made of belts.
Why bother with cosplay when you could just go naked? She suggests buying Gojo clothes, and surprise, everything looks good on him. But he refuses to help her with this cosplay, thinking it's too revealing. Kitagawa falls for him even more, and even offers to send him her pictures.
They go to a manga cafe. Kitagawa is shy about being alone with him, but Gojo is more horrified by the food prices. My kind of guy. She then announces she wants to cosplay a succubus. No rest for you, Gojo. Kitagawa drags him to a love hotel for a photo shoot. Striking poses from the manga, she ends up on top of him. And in that awkward moment, they hear someone baking cakes in the next room, if you know what I mean. But just when something might happen, a phone call ruins everything, preserving Gojo's virginity indefinitely. Kitagawa leaves thinking about what could have been. Gojo leaves traumatized. Later they watch a horror movie. Kitagawa is scared shitless. Gojo just analyzes the makeup. Then, fireworks festival. They hang out, watch fireworks, and Gojo carries a tired Kitagawa home. Before bed, they talk on the phone, and when she hears he's already asleep, she confesses her love. The end. So, my verdict. My Dress-Up Darling is a very beautiful title that could have been a great anime. There were signs of that, but the creators went for yet another fan service show for teenagers who've never touched a woman. The beach scene was wholesome. Gojo's bond with his grandpa sometimes brought a tear to my eye, but all his philosophy was buried under tons of fan service. Nothing surprising there. I give this anime 6 maid costumes out of 10. That's all. Thanks for watching, my friend. Don't forget to leave a like and comment if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, Sunshine. See you next time. Bye.